Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome back to the first Talking Town Matchday ticket with me, Martin. I am your host for this evening. We are 23 weeks, 164 days, 236 minutes from the last Ipswich Town game. It's been an absolute lifetime, but we have finally got a little bit of football for you this evening, and I'm really looking forward to it. Yes, it is only a friendly, but hey, it's a game of football, and of course, I'm joined as always by some colleagues of mine. They are, of course, Mr. Richard Moss. Oh no, that one. How are we?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be, it's Ipswich Town football, which we've missed. We're only a couple of weeks away from the start of the season, and it's going to be a really interesting thing. And we've got the first lineup to go through in a second, but let me just introduce my colleague here, Matthew Phillips.
How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. What can we say about Matt Phillips?
I'd like to say I like the graphics. I'm liking these graphics you've got going on.
Thank you very much. I've been rather busy today, just trying to make it look a little bit like we care. Well, trying the utmost. We are 28 minutes away from our first game of football, Matthew. Are you excited?
Am I excited? To be honest, I'm not a fan of pre-season. I very rarely go to the games when they've been at Pullman Road and be allowed to go. But yeah, I suppose the 6-month gap, whatever it is, 5.5 months, 6 months, whatever it is since we last played. What was it, March the 7th? It's going to be weird. We've spoken a lot about Ipswich, haven't we, over the last weeks, months, etc., without any match action. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I just hope 2 games is going to deliver. It won't be like paint drying.
Well, exactly. That we don't want that. But I think there's enough intriguing storylines to really tide us through. If we take a look at the opening lineup, I believe it's an interesting lineup, Matt, right?
Yeah, well, we're going to get to see Harry Wright for the first time. I've not seen him play before. I'm sure lots of people have seen him probably in academy setups and stuff, but I've not seen him play. First look at Stephen Ward there, a returning Kane Vincent Young. That's exciting. Who else we got in there? And the boy Drinan, Mark Heath's favourite from the Kings of Anglia, playing up top on his own. If we think that's going to be the formation, so
I knocked that together in 5 minutes when the team news was released. I believe, looking at the ingredients, that's what we're probably going to see today. Vincent Young on the right, Ward, a traditional left back. He may surprise us. He may drop Skuse into a centre half or Ward in at centre half and play Bishop next to Hughes in the centre of midfield. But I'm quite intrigued to see Teddy Bishop. 9 appearances last season. Is it a make or break year for Teddy, Rich?
Yeah, because he's got 1 year left of his contract.
Yeah.
I think he might have a 12-month option, but I think this is a season that he needs to be playing football at his age. He's been unlucky with injuries. We've got to say that, but he needs to be playing week in, week out, and he needs goals as well. I think he's only scored 1 goal, hasn't he?
One goal. We debated this a few weeks back, didn't we? It was 1 goal at Bournemouth. Yeah. I think maybe something like 2013, maybe
2015. That was when we got in the playoffs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's come in.
Yeah.
And I rate him. He's a good player, but we've got a lot of players who we rate, but they have to perform on the pitch. It's no longer saying Teddy's a young player because he's not. It's a massive season for him.
Yes, huge, really huge. And I think Jordan there, spot on. Looking forward to seeing Armando Dobra impressed against Luton in the EFL Cup last season. Obviously, it's only a friendly, but you want to see, especially against players such as Tommy Smith, who starts for Colchester United, you want to see your young players cut the mustard. And obviously, there's been that huge debate. Is he good enough for Town still, Tommy Smith? So tonight, we want to see our Drinan, for example. Can he go up against Tommy Smith and impress? Because, Mark Keith's a big fan of Aaron Drinan.
If he's another one, isn't he, in that bracket where I think does he qualify in the salary cap as a senior player now?
Aaron Drinan, yes, I believe he does.
Yeah,
yes, I believe he does.
I'd expect him to leave the club. I don't expect him to be anywhere near the squad. I don't know when they have to name the 21, but I'd be very surprised with Jackson Norwood, You've also got Hawkins now, obviously, and then you've got Freddie Sears, and I can't see Drinnan being anywhere near. I know he's playing today, but I don't really. Scoose.
So why would they give him game time? I wonder. Unless they think Norwood's not going to be ready for the start of the season, we know he's got.
Well, we know Norwood's not here. We know Norwood's, or we believe Norwood's not even, not even in the country. Is the report? Is the report? But obviously, another player who needs to impress. Well, not needs to impress. That's a bit that's the wrong terminology. But the player who's come out from injury, Kane Vincent Young, signed from Colchester last year. Obviously, missed 5 months of the season with injury. Many people say if he'd stayed fit, we would be talking about championship football this term. Need to see how he is along on the pre-season schedule, right? We need to see how far he's come following that injury.
Yeah, well, he really did set the world alight, didn't he, when he signed for us? And I mean, we put out on Facebook who would have been your player of the year. There's quite a few people were saying Kane Vincent Young off the back of 9 appearances, so we can keep him fit. I'm pretty certain if we can keep him fit this season, he will score double figures for us.
Double figures.
Yeah. I mean, how many goals did he get out of 9 appearances? 2, 3?
I'll be expecting maybe 4, 5 goals. I wouldn't. If he gets double figures, I don't think there's many right backs, Matt, get double figures. And if he gets double figures, there's one thing I know: he won't be playing for Ipswich next season. No chance. No chance.
No, that is true. But he got 2 goals last year in 9 appearances. So I suppose if you did very, very rudimentary mathematics and went double every time, you're looking at, well, not double figures, but you're pushing it. You're pushing it.
I don't think 8 to 10 goals is out of the realms of possibility for him.
It shouldn't be.
In just the cameos we saw from him. Right?
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
He's our best player, isn't he? I think he's.
Yeah.
And we chatted on the pod saying he was a massive miss. I wouldn't like to say it's a one-man team if you get one player injured, but he was a massive way how we played. And I think he's if he impresses, there's going to be people looking at him. We got him for 500 grand. And I think that there'll be people out there thinking he could definitely play in the championship, even if maybe higher.
Yeah, and I think if you look at that team, and if obviously Drinnan is not somebody you would want to go into perhaps a league fixture with up front. Maybe he will impress this pre-season and prove me otherwise. But certainly Vincent Young provides that sort of natural ability to get around an opposing fullback, offer some pace, offer some width, which he did do earlier in the campaign before the injury. And you're looking at playmakers inside there. Bishop, Hughes. Hughes really should be dictating this first 75 minutes.
Yeah, but he's another one, isn't he? He's another one. We're saying the player that he is. We're only going from that loan spell. Since then, he's had injuries. And last season, how many games did he play last season? 18, 20 games? Done nothing. Yeah. I'd go out of that team. You're going for the squad of 21, I would take Wright would be out of it, NCR would be out of it, and Drinnan would be out of it. So I'd say the other 8 they'd be in your squad. I'm not saying they'd all be in your first 11.
Disagree. Nsiala for me is going to be in your squad. You've paid money for Toto Nsiala. You've got to tell the young man this is a make or break year for you at the football club. We know what's gone before. We know that you didn't get off to the best start in your Ipswich Town career, but then neither did many of the Paul Hurst signings.
He's going to be.
This has to be his time.
He's going to be fourth choice, isn't he? He's going to be fourth choice centre back.
Yeah.
Best,
without a doubt.
At best, because you might even have Hawkins. You might have him as your fourth centre back, and you might move to. I reckon Toto will be moved on. I can't see him playing. He's an accident waiting to happen.
He's so unpredictable, isn't he? He's just so. We've said before on the show, you don't want unpredictability in your defence, do you?
He could be someone, Matt, though, who plays better with no fans.
Certainly could.
He might be. He might be.
People are going to get on his case. We floated this earlier, didn't we? Tommy Smith. I just wonder if Tommy Smith puts in a good performance tonight, whether Lambert might look at him again, and then with the view of sending Nsiala off to a Bolton or wherever he went.
Well, I think yes, if you could offload Nsiala or Wilson or both, but currently the wage budget is occupied with those two, and they are a roadblock to the Tommy Smith return. Always have been.
You got to get players off the books, haven't you? But the boys on the Blue Monday made a good point and said, if Colchester can afford Tommy Smith, then Ipswich will be able to. But yeah, I understand we'd have to get players off the books in order for that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And obviously, George Lee makes a fantastic point there in regards to Harry Wright. Surely this could be a chance for him to impress other clubs watching for a loan deal, but also it could backfire on the club, right, Matt? Because if he comes out, and I'm not saying if he comes out and has a 10 out of 10 game, and people are going to say he's the second coming of Richard Wright. But if he comes out and has a solid 8, 9 out 10 out of 10, then are we going to be having that conversation again? Was a second senior goalkeeper worth it? Was a second senior goalkeeper needed?
I'm sure he's probably just going to be. I think he's going to be in that window to go to probably like a National League side, like Wolfenden did when he went to Bromley, and we've looked at Ndaba going to Hempstead previously, haven't you? And my local team, Chelmsford, I think he was lined up to go there till it fell through. So yeah, it's probably a little bit of a shop window for a loan move for him. But I think Holy's injured, isn't it? Not done his shoulder in or something.
Yeah, they said he's had a shoulder injury, so I'd have thought Prisbeck would have played.
Yeah, maybe he's in
pecking order.
So presumably then either Prisbeck or Cornell will start the second game.
Yes, potentially so. And I think more George Lee's point is probably along the more correct lines. You play a player like this, especially against a League Two opposition, to highlight and show that he is around. Ashley Bell makes a fantastic point. Friend of the show, Ashley Bell. Even though it seems early because it's our first game, in reality, actually, it's not that early. We're only one of 4 pre-season fixtures, and this is one of 2 tonight. So after this, we've got Spurs, Tottenham on Saturday, West Ham on Tuesday, and we're kind of into the season.
Yeah.
So I think it seems early, but it's actually not that early.
They had a training game, didn't they, Saturday behind closed doors? 2
training games,
but
that don't mean nothing.
Look, I wouldn't think there'd be any teams out there now would be playing your first 11. It's a mix and match. It's obviously these 2, and then. Have they not got a game lined up after West Ham on the Saturday on the 29th?
If they have, I've absolutely missed it.
Because I do know that there's the Carabao Cup could be played on that Saturday if because it's international week, isn't it? When it's going to be played on the 5th.
Game, are they?
We're playing on the 5th. We're playing on the 5th. Yep.
It could be moved to the 29th. The teams who've got international, so there's an international fixture in there, but it will probably stay on the 5th, won't we? I'd have thought we wouldn't need to move it.
No, but that's it. So you've got Colchester twice tonight. You've got the game on Saturday, then the game on Tuesday, the 25th, and you have got that weekend still free before the Bristol Rovers. So there could well be a fixture in there that I've potentially missed.
Not yet. They haven't got a game, have they? But
I'm not seeing anything organised, Martin.
Well, there we go. So we're not that far along on the schedule, really. But
then surely they'll use the Bristol Rovers game as I know it's a cup game, but I could see that being used as a mix and match. But it wasn't exactly a great draw, was it? When we sat there watching it, and then you're thinking Norwich. The longer it went on, I thought it was going to be them coming out.
Yeah, you really did. You really did. Do you think we will get a more Kings of Anglia report in Cambridge potentially? Talk of Cambridge from Daniel Hill. Appreciate the Daniel. Thank you ever so much. I'll put that on the screen for you. There we go. Do you think Bristol Rovers will be your traditional last pre-season curtain raiser, where you're seeing we're old enough to remember pre-season where your last home game was your more or less 11.
Yeah,
because you were giving your home fans that perhaps weren't quite bought in just yet a chance to see the new signings and see.
A glamour involved. I remember Sooner, Celta Vigo, Lazio, wasn't it? PSV come over.
Do you think something like that will happen Bristol Rovers? Do you think we'll see a stronger 11 than normal? Because Lambert's got to get off to a good start, race off the blocks. Yeah. So I think we'll see a stronger 11 than that. But we are joined this evening, guys, by our Colchester United friend. They are friends this evening. They are not foes, even though it's a huge game for them. Sorry, Joe. I'll introduce you in a second properly. But yes, our Colchester United friend who has already messaged us to say the Kane Vincent Young chat is absolutely killing him. Talking about one of their star players. So, Joe, welcome in. I'll just drop Cruncher out. Cruncher, enjoy that lovely Spanish beer you've got with a beautiful sun. I'll just drop you out. Oh, no. Joe, welcome into this evening's.
Hi, Joe.
How you doing, my friend? How you doing?
Kind of wish I was crunching now, popping off in the sun with a lager. Sounds great.
I know. He needs more bay at home.
No, all good. Thank you very much for having me on. And really intrigued by tonight's action. Two 75-minute matches. I must admit, I didn't know that when I woke up this morning. I thought, just a nice pre-season friendly to get into. I must admit, I think that from our side of things in Colchester, so many questions and very little answers at the moment. So it'll be very intriguing tonight, the two lineups. And I've had a brief look now, which looks relatively strong, the lineup. But I think it will be all very peculiar between now and competitive football starts. And dare I say it, even going into that as well, because I think very much the situation we're in at the moment, we are leaving everything to the last minute, and quite rightly so. We can't expect to have a club to have a strategy where it's running on, pittance sometimes, particularly now there's no gates and has been for a long time. And, Robbie Cowlin, our owner, spoke very, very clearly and very honestly, I thought, about that, where there's been previous criticism in the past. So I think for us to be assembling a squad pre-season with a few games to go and talk about, this new signing we could play, it's just ridiculous at this stage, in my opinion. So it'll be very interesting tonight to see, especially now the new man in, what he's going to go for, and also the formation, because I couldn't quite tell from the initial tweet how it was going to line up. But nice to see a few names recognised.
Yeah, so Steve Ball's first game in charge of yourselves. Smith's in the lineup. What are your thoughts as a Colchester United fan on the Tommy Smith trial? Do you honestly think you've got a chance of bringing him in? Do you want to bring him in? Where do you stand on that?
I mean, I was staggered actually when I saw it at first. People go, Tommy Smith's 30, Sunderland, been around Ipswich, obviously local ties and stuff like that. But the guy's got pedigree. And I think if you're looking at where we're at as a club at the moment, we're trying to get out of League Two. In my opinion, I'm not deluded by the fact I think we deserve to have been in there a couple of seasons, but a couple of times minimum playoffs has been required and it hasn't been achieved. But to attract someone like Tommy Smith during the situation this club's going through at this moment in time, and with our back four, our captain Luke Prosser just went to Stevenage. I mean, they were lucky to stay in League Two with their appeal and stuff like that. So to attract someone like Tommy Smith, I mean, I haven't got attached to the story or anything like that, because I would personally, if I could, I'd pay his wages to come. I'd love it.
I think many Town fans feel the same thing about.
We feel the same, don't we, Martin?
Anyway. Yeah, I think I'm with you. He adds balance, and you're right. He's got great pedigree.
30.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that as well. When I saw that he was over 30, I thought this is just literally a no-brainer. However, I think a lot of it must be about his personal life. Is he situated in the East with these ties to Ipswich? A family comfortable here? Is he willing to take less money to come to somewhere like Colchester? Because let's face it, he walks in as our best central defender, and if people want to argue, that's absolutely fine. I love Tom Eastman. Ironically, I went to school with him and used to play with Tom Eastman, so it's been great to see his journey at Town and then at Colchester, ironically. And I think he's absolutely fantastic for us and does a really good job. But he needs someone next to him, and who better in League Two than Tommy Smith if he's free and available in the middle of a pandemic. But I do think if he's on trial and looks quite good, and we're literally playing Ipswich Town tonight, and if you need a centre half, they might go, there's an extra grand there, Tommy. Do you want to come? It's very hard, but I would obviously take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I think some things have got to move further up the food chain for that to happen with us. You might be might make you first in the pecking order there for Tommy. But looking through your lineup, obviously Dino's in goal. He was Marmite with Town fans. Is he Marmite with your fans? Do you love him?
We absolutely love him. It was. I can remember the League Cup run last year. I mean, Dino is the shout pretty much you hear all the time. Everyone loves Dean Gherkin, especially us. I mean, I was delighted to see him come back. I thought it was a fantastic move. It made sense for everybody, and it was great signing him. So I think that again at our level, great. And I'd have him again. See, I know people. I'm not just going to sit and say, he's a fantastic keeper. On his day, he's good. He did have some issues last year and stuff, but again, look what's available.
Yeah.
And is there anyone better than Dean Gherkin on lesser money that we can bring in now to cover that? I think even Roscoe, the young up-and-coming goalkeeper that went to Lincoln. Now, we've released a lot of our players, which was, Frank Newblay, they were all quite high-profile ones, Luke Prosser, as I've mentioned, to Stevenage. But, when we lost Stephen Ross to Lincoln because he just didn't want to sign a new deal, a lot of people have been saying, that's going to be the guy that could take Gherkin's spot. And boom, he's gone. There's little else around. So despite the odd criticism of some parts of his play, I think he's, solid, particularly again at League Two level, trying to get out of the league.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, I've just put your team on the screen there for tonight's game. Anybody stand out for you that Town fans should be keeping an eye on, potentially for a transfer because you feel like he's outgrown your club, or somebody you're really looking forward to as a Col-U fan to see?
No, keep your hands off. No, I'm joking.
No,
I've seen it too many times over the years. Anthony Wordsworth, Freddie Sears. It's all been too much of a heartbreak. But no, seriously, just being serious here. Kwame Poku, first name there. I mean, was he? Yeah, I think he's just turned 20. Breakthrough season last year. An incredibly exciting footballer who can. I think his best position from the play I've seen is number 10. He can play off the right, off the left. I think he's a talent, and genuinely, with how we've seen today, how footballers tend to accelerate through the leagues, well, certainly some of them, he could be whatever he wants to be as long as he keeps grounded. Although I do wonder this year if there'll be too much pressure on him, given the fact that Frank Nouble isn't here. And you've got to say that Frank kind of nurtured him a bit. It was a little big bro, little bro relationship kind of going on. And I think he's going to have a lot of that, a lot on his shoulders, being one of the key players in there. And of course, he's been well looked at from a lot of the other clubs as well in the leagues above because of his standouts. We got him from non-league, and then he's done a great job. The other stuff on the thank you very much for that. Yes, so who else have we got there? It's Courtney Senior, again, an incredible winger, all the attributes. As always, sadly, with a lot of these wingers, he's got pace, he's quick, it's the end product. And that's where he needs to, as we've been saying for a few years now. But on his day, I mean, I've seen him score some absolute weldies, for us as well. And he is a fantastic player at this level to have. He creates so much. He causes defences so many problems because he's old-fashioned. He's direct. He'll pick up the ball and he'll run. And sometimes he runs into a brick wall, and sometimes he creates a goal. And that's what's brilliant. But a name that I'm really interested in this lineup, which has got me excited, is Giovanni Brown. Last summer, we paid a substantial fee to Cambridge for him. He was, their best player, stand-up player in terms of ability. And it looked like he was going to come in and replace Sammy Smodix, who obviously went to Bristol City that summer. And,
great player.
And, I love Sammy. But Giovanni Brown looks, left-footed, bit of culture about him and stuff. And he didn't fit into the team straight away. And I thought, fair enough, that's fine. John McGrew will find somewhere for him. And then I think, even though we beat Spurs on penalties, I don't know if you remember, he was the one that chipped the ball down the middle. And I think that absolutely obliterated his confidence. Despite the fact we went on to win, I think that blew his confidence even more because it was exposed. It was all over Twitter. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but he completely curtailed off and I think went to Forest Green Rovers on loan for the rest of the season. However, new man in charge. I know he's been around and everything like that. But if I were him, I'd be putting an arm around him saying, Giovanni, mate, you in this league, you could rip this up this year, and we've books. He's got a year contract. Again, we're not looking for another player, bringing him in, show him some love, get him playing. So again, it'd be really interesting to see now. But he's one of those that has to apply himself as well. He is one of those players that he likes to play well when the team's playing well, and he needs to sometimes, with that extra ability, take that extra responsibility.
I've got a quick question for Joe and Mark. We've discovered recently that Kane Vincent-Young played a lot of games at left back.
Yeah, do you know
what could you describe his game on that side, and which flank is he strongest, do you think, or he's both?
Well, what is your situation at left back at the moment?
Well, we brought Stephen Ward in.
Yeah,
play this evening. Yeah, and then but we were talking about does Kane move over to the left back position? We brought a right back in, but it looks like he will stay right back now.
I mean, I think I've seen Kane Vincent-Young play right back a few times. I think if we began and even played midfield a little bit on the wing, but mainly where I've watched him is left back. I don't want to say this, but there was points where I was watching him towards the end where it was just embarrassing, some of the things he was doing to defenders, and just at League Two. He is incredibly talented. I remember the winner he got. I was at Cambridge away when he scored that with the bar and in the 96th minute. To me, if you've got good options at right back as well, which I think you're relatively okay across the back four. I know maybe not necessarily an out one at the moment, or maybe last season maybe you brought someone in. But for me, with his technical ability, get him over at left back immediately. If I was Paul Lambert, I'd be looking back at his form at Colchester. The reason you bought him was also based on some history, but that's 6 months of play where he was playing left back or left wing back, playing there, because he cuts in with his right. He's got options. And I really think that, again, he'll do a great job at right back, of course. But I think left back, you could be a trick there, and especially if, the new signing's 35, he might not have the legs to play a 46.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think you get goals. I keep thinking you get goals from those full-back positions. I shocked the boys just a minute ago. Said maybe double figures, but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. So what are you looking for from this first 70 minutes from your team, Joe, before I bring Rich back in to finish off the Ipswich chat?
I would just like to see just a bit of composure, keep the ball. I'd like to see, ball style of play, a little stamp on it, a formation difference, just something like that. What I wouldn't like to see is pass the, as soon as we give possession, 11 men behind the ball. So we won't learn nothing from that. You go out and play tonight. It don't matter if you lose 4 or 5-0. It really doesn't matter. If you can go out and play some attacking football and show what this young side is about, that'll be more than enough for me tonight. Because again, as you guys have touched on, it's really hard to read into these early games of the season. Yeah,
definitely. So a bit of bravery from your team.
Yeah, a bit of heart, a bit of bravery. Just think, hold on, let's have a go at them, And we could, if we, first game, get something from it, or the second, put a spanner in their works, good. This is
Absolutely.
you want to be playing a team that's got some better players and have got a bit more of a fight for next season because they're desperate to get out of League One. You want to be playing someone at this level to test yourself. But I would say don't get emotionally attached. Don't let your heads drop. It's 2 75-minute football games. Just play some attacking football and learn more going forward, because that's what we should be doing going forward, getting out of our league as you should be with yours.
Perfect. And Matt, what about ourselves? What are you looking for from our youngish team? What are you looking for tonight?
I just want to see like a little bit of pace, a little bit of creation, invention, all the things that was missing. And we keep harking back to what a terrible run it was at the end of the season. So it's a chance now to clear the decks on that. It's a clean slate. I just want to see, we've got a lot of youth in now. I just want to see, I want to see some pace. I want to see some creativity and invention. That's what I'm looking for.
Perfect.
Hopefully an entertaining performance.
That would be absolutely nice. Rich, how about yourself? What are you looking for from this young team?
Look, it's a good opportunity for Drinan to hopefully show something. He's probably a little bit in the shop window. I'm looking forward to seeing Dobra, seeing what he can do. But I agree with Steve's message a few minutes back. We don't want to put too much pressure on him. I know he's highly rated, but he's still only a young player. But I agree with Matt. I think we really do. Last season, we lacked pace. We've got Edwards, we've got Dobra in this team, you've got Vincent Young. So you've got a lot of good options going forward. I would have thought we might go 4-3-3. I'm not sure. I think it could be a Edwards one side, Dobra the other, and Drinan in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, I'm not Paul Lambert, even though my surname is Lambert, and he's not Madar. I haven't got inside information, despite what some people do think on Twitter. And it was a quick knock up on Photoshop before we came live. The moment I got the team news. Personally, there's a few players in there that we would consider, if not first team, on the verge of first team. I'm looking at Skuse, I'm looking at Hughes, Bishop, Edwards. Take over this first period. Really put your mark on it. Show that you are this step up. Not just above League 2 level players, no disrespect to Joe and Colchester United, but equally you are a first team player. Or if you're not a first team player, you should be considered a first team player. Particularly, I'm looking at Hughes and Bishop in that midfield area. Get on the ball, make things work. I want to see a nice 60 minutes from Vincent Young, 70 minutes from Vincent Young, come through it injury-free. What can Ward offer? So many different things. And of course, Harry Wright. So many people have said about this young man. Well, son, let's see what you've got about you. Let's see if your height is against you as a goalkeeper. And let's find out. So, guys, we will return at half-time. I say half-time, whatever the half-time may be. But we'll return for a quick, brief rundown of the first game, look at the second game, and we'll see you all at half-time. Thanks for tuning in.